Afternoon, everybody. Welcome to the lore stream. I hope you're all having a fantastic day. Just to give you guys an idea of the format of this, I will go through my lore, the story that I have written and experienced, and then afterwards I will be open to any kind of questions related to the lore or to me, Drayfrig. And I'll answer them to the best of my ability, but do try to keep them appropriate and relevant to the topic at hand. With that, I believe you guys have everything muted properly. I can crank my background music for myself because OBS doesn't like to tell me when, doesn't like to actually let me hear what I'm hearing through it. Those Chaos Emeralds, dude, you have no idea. Chaos Emeralds so bigly. I'm like Sonic, basically. But, moving on. A foreword: all content and facts in the following narrative rely on real religious legends and gods. As such, the following content is therein fictitious and works solely for myself. Nothing I write or have written is meant to be taken as fact about the real myths or legend and is pertinent only to my character. Any questions can be taken up with me in private, any concerns as well. In the beginning, there was a thread, its end and start unsure of itself. Slowly, but surely, 3 pairs of hands coalesced in the darkness, pulling and tugging the string, forming it slowly into the start of a very large tapestry. Eventually from those hands 3 maidens came forth, Uldur, Nandi, and Skold. The what was, what is, and what will be. In their tapestry they began to tell a tale of all creation, a long tale, a tale of life, death, violence, peace. All would come and go so long as their hands kept weaving. This was the story as told to us by my father and to him by Odin. Fate, as it happens, played a large part in the goings-on of Asgard. Odin, as you may know, was fated to kill his grandfather Ymir. Odin fated to be killed by his grandson Fenrir. The young kill the old, whether by apathy or intent. Death, after all, was one of the first concepts the Norns weaved. Among his many adventures and legends, Odin was granted a vision of the end of his life, and all that he formed with the body of Ymir. Ragnarok, as it would be called, the death of the world at the hands of Surtur, and the many offspring of Loki. Try as he might, he was pitted against fate. The fall of the gods was always a fixture in what could be, what would be, and what will be. Or, so he thought. The vision he was given was incomplete, imperfect, not due to the hands of the Norns, but due to the incomprehensible paths that Odin was shown. These paths, as it would be revealed, were decided by his own fears and decisions. But I'm getting ahead of myself. When the first humans were crafted from the ash trees, Odin, in his blossoming wisdom, gave forethought to the violence he would have imparted on their minds by his sharing of life. War, he decided, would be his domain, his responsibility. For this reason, he felt only he could start or stop a war. For this, he thought he would need harbingers and body takers, beings to bring the honored souls to his doorstep. In this moment, from his mind sprang forth 2 beings. The first, and most important, were the birds of this devastation, the ravens. To them he gave many gifts, among them language and immortality. He named these birds, but their names were shortly forgotten, as the titles they would give themselves began to take over. Hugin and Munin is how they would be called. Second, the bearers of warriors, the Valkyries, his daughters. To each he gave them wings and spears and armor, so that they may fly with speed to the sides of the honored chosen. But both parties would be guided by his holy spear, Gungnir. From Asgard he would throw it, and into the ground of war it would pit itself. Not long after their creation, Hugin and Munin created their first nest among the branches of Yggdrasil, and laid their first eggs. These children, they decided, would aid Odin in any way they were needed, for there would be far too many humans for 2 ravens to fly to every day. They also reasoned that should they grow weary of their post, they would need successors to step in and take their place. Thus, my siblings and I were born. Who am I? I am Dreyfrig, first hatchling of Hugin and Munin. As the first to hatch, I was the first to be seen by the gods, first to be held and passed around in admiration. Each god whispering secrets they thought I was too unlearned to keep. I was not. After all, a raven remembers all. As I grew, I learned the ways of being a messenger. The gods showed me things. Odin teaching me the cultures of the world, how to speak, how to read. Thor how to call winds and storms at the beck of my call. Loki how to change shape to blend in with my surroundings. Freya ruins and magic so that any task would be made easy. Ullr and Skadi how to hunt. Frigg, from whom I partly draw my name, the cleverness to outwit even Odin, and possibly fate. Sif, how to grow crops proper to one's continued living. From Baldur, how to fashion oneself and master one's body. And from the rest, many, many other lessons over time. I was given many jobs in my days in Asgard, beyond that of just being a messenger. During his many exiles, I became a sort of ward for the wandering and mischievous Loki. As I knew how he thought, and I knew his magics, I was able to track him easily without being found, a skill that would be useful in the future. When there was disease among the humans, and Frigg sought to ease them, I would be tasked with hunting the plague bearers and bringing their life to an end. For my eye was keener than most of my brothers and sisters, and I flew the fastest. At one point, I was even asked to jab out the eyes of a king who dared to lust after Freya while she flew through the air one day. I was, probably, the first jack of all trades. One day, while I was chaperoning Loki during one of his fits of anger, I spotted a crack in Midgard, perhaps split by a battle or an oversight by the Allfather. Concerned, I flew towards it. But as I flew near it, I found I could not fly away from the rent in the earth. I was sucked towards the great tree of Yggdrasil, the tree whose branches hold the 9 realms, and my original nest. Typically, I could come and go out of this realm through any means that I deemed worthy, but this was different. Instead of depositing me on its branches near my nest, I was cast towards the root. There, I saw the Norns, and I saw Skuld beckoning me towards her. Her eyes pale white, her words in many tongues. In her hand she held a thread I had seen before, the thread that Odin had told us about and had shown us with his memory. It was Ragnarok, deeply golden red, burning directly into my memory with its fiery heat. In the burning I saw it all. It seemed different from what I was shown by Odin. In Odin's memory, nothing lived beyond what he had shown me, only ash and dust. In this, I saw a very different start and outcome. In the start, they were not started by the fires of Surtur, but the fires of burning buildings, and in their casted light a metal cross stood high above, on banners tainted grey from the soot. Men in scales and plates resembling that of the great Fafnir and Nidhogger brought mighty swords down upon the head of Odin's chosen. In the skies above the tales that I was familiar with unfolded. Soon, those figures faded to a landscape of bodies and dust, standing amongst them a figure, simultaneously human and inhuman. They faded. Now they stood over Odin's body, perched on a well wall. The figure plunged their hand into their own eye and cast it and Odin into the well. Out of the well came an orb, and when they took it, the vision began to fade. Soon, many more visions, images of the shadowy figure, flashed before me, hunching over the bodies of the gods, taking from them items and transforming them into common objects. Then, they walked away, the looming clouds, the fires behind them, and nothing but an empty horizon in front of them. The vision faded. Skold's eyes returned to their golden shining brilliance. What will be, will be. What you need will come, and when it's time, hide, she told me. Before I could ask any questions, I was pulled back through the hole I came from. Obviously, I had lost my charge, but it did not take me long to find his fiery hair in the distance. He was not prone to wander, just to destruction. Hundreds of years passed by, and still nothing came from that encounter. And just when I thought it was no longer relevant, it happened. Time went on, technology and culture advanced. We watched from Asgard as the religion of the sacrificial human grew into a church, and then into Christianity, and its conquering ways. In some aspects, they were not so different from us, except that there the God was one and all. The restraint non-existent. Some came and spread peace, silent killers of our traditions, twisting my friends into various versions of angels or demon. Most disastrously, Loki came to be the equivalent of their Satan, and hell erased nothing more into a world for which their damned go. Others, though, got met with pure, unadulterated violence. Their zealotry on par with our famed but rare berserkers. Heads hewn, bodies stabbed. None stood in their wake so long as they were opposed. Their arrival and presence triggered the fall. What was once thought to be an instant would take decades. But eventually the myths of Ragnarok began to unfold. The sun swallowed one day, and in its darkness the battle for Asgard and all of the realms began. That is when it came. A new fracture opened. From it, a thread appeared. Without any form of control, I nipped at it with my beak. In an instant, I was pulled through with it. Though this time, Yggdrasil was not before me, but instead I was stuck in an unharmonious void. The only light, that of the thread before me, it spoke to me there in the voice of the Norns, harmonious. Change, hide, return. When I pushed for answers, it repeated. Changed, hide, returned. All I could change was my form, and so in the darkness of the void I changed. Hide, is what it told me, so I took the form of a human, as that was the only thing I knew to hide from. Male, female, I could not decide, for I did not know which would be better in the coming times. I took the countenances of the gods I knew in my head, and tried my best to form a face that would allow me to hide amongst the humans, in a recognizable but fair shape. A guise I'm sure I would have had to keep for all the eons to come. Once I was done, the voices came again. Clothe yourself, nakedness will not do. Before me, clothes appeared. Changing in a weightless void was not an experience I enjoyed, nor one that I would encourage. Once I was done, the string spoke again. Return, was all that it said. The void opened and I was spat out like a bad piece of meat. Onto my clothes the thread wove itself, creating an intricate and pretty design. One I had never seen before, but one I knew I would have to keep secret. I landed on my hands and knees. The sensation of this human form, while I had taken a similar form before, was not one I was accustomed to. I fell down, unable to stand. My hands and knees met the ground with a sickening squelch. I looked up. Before me was a landscape caked in blood, ash, and bodies. I knew immediately that my figure was me, and that vision that I had was also me. Stumbling, tumbling, crawling, I searched desperately for any survivors. I found none. Friends, family, strewn about, their enemies also dead at their sides. Ragnarok had come and passed, its terrible hand over the gods. I knew what I had to do. I had to find him. It took me a while, hours perhaps, days, but I found Fenrir. Using a nearby sword, I cut open Fenrir and took out Odin's digesting carcass. I tried to change form and found that I could not. Whether it was the trauma or something the Norns did, I did not know. So I began to journey to the Well of Mimir, the fabled well from which Odin drew his nigh unchallengeable wisdom and sight. Once I reached it, I was tired and sore. I placed his body on the wall. The thread spoke once more. Exchange, it said. I knew what I had to do. I plunged my hand into my eye and plucked it out and cast it into the well first. And then I rolled Odin's body inside. The well shone brightly. A deep hum emanated. From its depths, Odin's eye returned to the surface. It began to change itself, forming itself into an orb, inside which 9 smaller orbs began to form. This, I knew, I took to mean the realms that were on the branches of Yggdrasil. It shrunk and flew into my now empty eye socket. My sight was restored, but now I could see any and all that I wished. Like Odin, my first labor was done. I returned to the field from which I found it. There I began the work I knew I must, utilizing the magic of hiding from Loki and the ruins of Freya. I took the most powerful objects I found, or objects I deemed too strong to leave there to be discovered by humans, and began to transform them into near common objects to hide on my persons. Though what I took is still a secret for this time, perhaps a story that I will regale you with later. There I began the work. Wrong place. Once I collected what I must and what I deemed necessary, I picked up the last object, and turning it into a walking staff, I set out, unable to look back at the carnage, wondering how it came to be, how my future would unfold. For the next millennia, I walked amongst the humans, despising and admiring them. I watched the Renaissance unfold. I saw the many Chinese empires rise and fall. I made it to Japan at one point, and watched as the samurai we knew came to be. I saw the split of the Christian church, witnessed the atrocities that followed in its wake. I saw war, peace, prosperity, technological advances. I saw bloodlines rise and fall. I saw humans nearly implode from their own untapped potential. After some time, I regained my powers in full. I could hide again, and so I did from time to time, withdraw from the suspicious and paranoid eyes of the humans. Very recently, the spread spoke again. Its only word, return. I did not know what it meant, but deep down, I think I know. I must repay the Norns for my life and for their wisdom. In doing so, I believe I will return the gods to their former glory. And so I have come to you all now, to spread the word of the old, and to begin the new. And that, my friends, is my tale. Thank you for listening. Wordy as it may be, scoffed as it may have sounded, that's me. I will now take any questions you guys have, any concerns. Thank you for the pets. I need to get a head pat redeem going. So what can you do with these orbs? So the orb, as stated in the lore, contains the 9 realms. And through it I can basically kind of touch each of the orbs and then gaze upon them. It also lets me see virtually everything that's in the world. Think of it like you're playing like a top-down RPG game, and you just clip through the walls and you can see inside. It's like that. What happens if I drop the orb? No, I've dropped the orb many times. I'm a bit clumsy sometimes. It doesn't explode, but it's pretty impenetrable. You know, I try to give people the benefit of privacy. If I see that they're, like, you know, naked, I look away. It's just, you know, the nice thing to do. It really depends on my mood, which one's my favorite to look at. You know anything about the other realms? Niflheim is a nice frozen wasteland. It has a lot of cool structures in it. Elfheim is also pretty neat. Oh, am I dying? Am I dying? Please don't be dying. Alright. What about the staff? That is a secret for another time. I can't give away all my secrets right now. I don't know if there is a moist realm, but I'm sure they appreciate your fondness for them. Any more questions? Back to work, but thank you for the backstory, Home Slice. Thanks for coming. I appreciate your attendance, and I hope the rest of your work goes smoothly. Jotunheim, obviously. Ah, yes, Jotunheim. It's moist. Moist with blood. Got him. I feel like my lore was pretty, like, self-explanatory on a lot of fronts, but I'm not sure. So what's next? Well, what's next in the story is I wait for my live 2D model to be done, which is made by the ever-talented Jun Minami. Might be pronouncing the last name there wrong. It's entirely possible I am. And then I will do a debut stream, where I will probably do a succinct version of this lore stream, or I'll probably play it as like a before trailer to catch people up. And then I will spend most of the debut stream going over my outfit and, you know, my bottle, showing it off, flashy flash, you know, as birds do. And then after that, I mean, just, you know, streaming regularly at my scuffed hours. It really is. I mean, I don't know if you've been seeing the posts for the model that Jun's currently working on. It's not mine, mind you. But it's so good. It's so good. Jun literally has ruined my ability to watch HoloLive pretty hard, because now I can tell the difference in models. Like, watching other like riggers for models, I'm sitting here going, wow, the HoloLive ones kind of suck, like, super hard. Yeah, I should be debuting sometime in January. In theory. The model's gonna be done before the end of the year, or so I'm told. But I don't want to debut and then disappear for half a month in December. I feel like that would kill a lot of momentum, so I'm gonna hold off until 2022. Gur's model is literally just her face moving around. Please. I will know better once I have the model and once I'm more accustomed with it, what date I'll choose. I'll probably try to choose a date of significance to Norse culture, obviously, so that way it's relevant. I wanted to do the, you know, the solstice, but I can't wait half a year, and I don't want to debut while I'm in Europe. Yeah, that's the stream. Does anyone else have any more questions for me? Well, if no one else has any more questions for me, I will end the stream here. I'll probably be back later sometime. I hope to see everyone there. If not, no biggie. I know I streamed kind of late. But thank you all for attending, and I appreciate your time. Anytime, Yoma. Anytime. I am in EST. Alright, well, I think that about caps it, so have a good day, everybody, and I will see you around. Ciao, ciao.